Hey guys, it's Raul again, and today I'm going to be bringing you a book review on Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Now, for those of you who don't know, Six of Crows is a fairly recent book that just came out a couple of weeks ago by Leigh Bardugo, who's the author of the Grisha trilogy. Six of Crows takes place within the Grisha trilogy. It is a heist story about these six outcasts who kind of come together to perform this really big heist. I don't want to say what the heist is because it might be a little spoilery. It took me by surprise what the heist was, but I really loved it. I really loved the story of these six people kind of coming together. I mean, none of them are really like close friends. Some of them, know each other and that kind of thing, but they all kind of get put together to do this heist because they are six of some of the most talented, I would say, criminals or outcasts that there are out there. So that's why kind of they come together to do this heist, because the person that hires them to do this heist believes that they do have the abilities and have the talents to do these things. So I really loved it. I loved the fact that it was very action-packed, very intriguing. From the beginning of this book, it just completely sucked me in. The first chapter, it opens up with a Grisha that's been kind of being experimented on, and this is another kind of thing that's going on with this story. On top of them trying to commit this heist, there's somebody that has made something that is messing with the Grisha, and the Grisha are kind of becoming more powerful, out of control a little bit. And I really loved these two kind of weaving stories because they both, come together very nicely. I really loved it. I really enjoyed that aspect of it. This takes place years after the Grisha trilogy. So like I said, it does take place in the Grisha world. So you do get a lot of references to the original Grisha trilogy. There are some Easter eggs in there that I really loved, and loved just kind of like hearing about some of these characters from the original Grisha trilogy, because I absolutely loved the original Grisha trilogy. So you get these Easter eggs and, these things obviously that come from the Grisha world, and I just absolutely loved it. I loved the fact that you got to revisit this world in a completely different point of view. It was a completely different area, and with this story, like I said, years into the future. So Grisha at this point are, I wouldn't say outlawed, but aren't being viewed by society as the greatest of people. So like I said, a lot of experimenting on these Grisha, a lot of kind of the Grisha have gotten a really bad reputation at this point, and this is kind of the world where this book takes place, is that the Grisha aren't very well loved anymore, and somebody's messing around with them. So then there's this heist that's going on, and that's kind of the main premise. That's kind of everything that's kind of going on in this first book, and I believe this is a duology. I'm really excited for the next one. I'm just going to put that out there. But this is what the kind of the main premise and what the world it takes place in years after the Grisha. So this is kind of what's been going on since then. Now the characters in this book are very distinct. Each one has kind of a very distinct personality, a different ability, kind of different things that they kind of bring to this group, which I really loved. None of them seemed very generic. Like I said, they all seemed very unique and different, and I really loved that aspect of it. Going into this book, I thought that, having six main characters, that it was kind of going to be a little bit hard to follow, or some of them were going to feel a little bit repetitive, or kind of get thrown into the back burner. But I really enjoyed the way that these characters were written. I really enjoyed the way that their character dynamic and kind of some of them, bickered back and forth, which I really enjoyed. And, some of these, obviously, some of these characters end up falling in love with each other, which I really enjoyed that they threw kind of that aspect into it, but it wasn't a main focus. It wasn't kind of what was driving these characters to do any of the things that they were doing. So I really loved that. And I just liked the fact, like I said, that everybody was distinct and everyone was different and had different personalities where you kind of follow along and you kind of, hear their voices in your head because everybody had a distinct voice. Now the writing in this book, I felt, was great. I feel like Leigh Bardugo definitely improved from her Grisha trilogy. Even I loved her Grisha trilogy, but this one just, I don't know, there's something about it. I don't know, it's because she's already written 3 books before this, but I feel like it's just so much better than the Grisha trilogy. I feel like it's just so well developed. Everything is just, the pacing is great. The characters, like I said, were written so great. The world, everything was just so awesome, and I feel like the writing is like a huge aspect of that. because it's just so well done, so well written, and I feel like Leigh Bardugo has definitely improved over her Grisha trilogy, because this is definitely better than her Grisha trilogy. So if you didn't enjoy her Grisha trilogy, I would definitely check this one out if, you know, a heist story definitely appeals to you, because the writing in this, like I said, is so much better. It immerses you so much more into this world and makes you kind of fall for all of these characters because it's just so well written and so well done. Obviously, with having 6 main characters, there are definitely going to be some characters that appeal to you more. I absolutely loved Nina, who is the Grisha in this group. I really loved her dynamic with Matthias. They kind of know each other from the past before they kind of come together in this book to do this heist. And I really enjoyed, because it was kind of funny to see kind of a little bit of their bickering and a little bit of their back and forth. The relationship between them, I really, really enjoyed. Like I said, Nina became one of my favorite characters in this book. I know the fan favorites, apparently, for this book are Inej and Kaz, and I can see why, because Inej and Kaz are great characters. I really, really love Kaz. Kaz is like the leader of the group, and I just love him. He kind of walks around with a cane and has these gloves, and he's mysterious, and he's just so awesome. I really love him. I can picture him in my head, and he's just such a great main character and such a great leader to this group. I really enjoyed him. I mean, I felt like at times he was a little, you know, a little closed and reserved. You eventually kind of learn why. I mean, when they start kind of talking about their past, and that's another thing that I really loved, is that they go into each of these characters' past and kind of give you a really nice background on each of these characters that's kind of weaved in seamlessly in this book without feeling info dumpy. So that's really nice, because I don't really enjoy too much info dumping because I get a little bit bored about it, but everything kind of just weaves in when they start talking about, you know, each of their characters' past. So I really enjoyed that, and that kind of makes you fall in love more with each of these characters, because you kind of get to know where they came from and how their past was and kind of what they've been through to kind of get to this point in this book. I really loved it. I thought, like I said, that each character was great. Kaz and Inej, they were just so awesome. Like I said, if you have read the Grisha trilogy and haven't enjoyed it, I would still give this one a try, because I think this one is better than the Grisha trilogy, or started off better than the first book in the Grisha trilogy, even though I still, you know, like I said, loved that one. But this was just overall such a great story, great characters, great writing, great world. I really loved it. I was intrigued and hooked from the beginning, and this was just a 5 out of 5 star read for me. I really loved it. This was just so good. So if you guys haven't read 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo yet, or are still kind of on the fence of whether to pick it up, I would definitely check it out, because this is definitely one of my favorite books that I've read this year, and it's beautiful with these black tinted pages and these red inserts and stuff. Is just, yeah, I mean, how could you not love this book inside and out? So yeah, guys, that is it for my review on 6 of Crows. I hope you guys enjoyed some of my more in-depth thoughts and feelings on this book, and hopefully I've convinced some of you to pick it up, because Leigh Bardugo is a great writer, and this was a great book, and I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, guys, that is it for now, and I will see you guys next time.